What's happening? Lakers Nation, you're locked into Lakers News Fan Report, your #1 destination for all the latest upgrades, breaking news, and exclusive rumors surrounding our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. Today, I've got information that's going to get every single one of you fired up about the direction this franchise is heading. We're talking about a potential move that could transform our front court, elevate our superstar to even greater heights, and position us as legitimate championship contenders for years to come. Stay with me through this entire video, because what I'm about to reveal is going to have you checking trade machine scenarios and dreaming about what this roster could look like come playoff time. Let me start by painting a picture of where we are right now as a franchise. The 2025-26 season has been nothing short of spectacular so far. We're sitting 5 games above 500, we're competing in the brutal Western Conference, and we're doing it with a level of confidence and swagger that reminds me of the glory days. But here's the thing that has me most excited. Here's what has me believing that something special is brewing in Los Angeles. We've got a superstar who's playing at an absolutely otherworldly level. A player who's putting up numbers that we haven't seen consistently in the purple and gold since the Kobe era. I'm talking about a 5-time All-Star who's averaging 40 points per game this season. Let that sink in for a moment. 40 points per game. In the modern NBA, with all the defensive schemes designed to stop elite scorers, with all the attention that opposing teams throw at superstars, we've got a player who's dropping 40 a night. And it's not just the scoring, it's the complete package. This player is also pulling down 11 rebounds per game and dishing out over 9 assists. Those are MVP caliber numbers. Those are the kind of statistics that put you in the conversation with the absolute best players in the league. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're looking at the games played column and noticing that our star hasn't been available for all 9 of our regular season games due to some injury issues. That's a legitimate concern, and it's something the medical staff and coaching staff are monitoring closely. But when this player is on the court, when he's healthy and operating at full capacity, there's not a defense in the league that can consistently stop him. He's a walking mismatch, a player who can score from anywhere on the floor, who can create for his teammates, and who makes everyone around him better. The question that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers brass are asking themselves right now is simple but profound. How do we maximize this window of opportunity? How do we surround this generational talent with the pieces necessary to compete for championships? How do we build a roster that can withstand the grind of an 80-game season and then elevate its game in the playoffs? Those are the questions that keep general managers up at night, and those are the questions that are driving the Lakers' decision-making process as we approach the trade deadline. Here's where things get really interesting, and here's where I need you to pay close attention, because this is the information that's going to blow your mind. According to reporting from Clutch Point's Brett Siegel, one of the most connected NBA writers in the business, the Lakers are actively exploring a trade scenario that would reunite a superstar with a former teammate. We're talking about a player who knows exactly how to play alongside our star, who understands his tendencies, who can finish the plays that our guy creates, and who brings a defensive presence that we desperately need in the paint. This potential trade target is a 6'10" center who made a name for himself playing alongside elite talent in Dallas. He's a player who specializes in vertical spacing, who's an absolute monster on the pick-and roll, and who can protect the rim at an elite level. This is a 27-year-old big man who's in the prime of his career, who just signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension this past offseason, and who remains trade eligible despite that new deal. The Mavericks aren't operating in panic mode by any means. They're not fire-selling their assets, but they are being monitored closely by teams around the league who recognize that circumstances can change quickly in this league, and according to Siegel's sources, one of the teams with the strongest interest in this player, dating back to last season, is none other than our Los Angeles Lakers. The front office has been tracking this player's development. They've been evaluating how he might fit into our system, and they've been doing the homework necessary to potentially pull off a deal before the February trade deadline. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky scenario. This isn't wishful thinking from fans on social media. This is legitimate interest from our front office in a player who could genuinely move the needle for this franchise. So who am I talking about? Who is this 6'10" center who could potentially be headed to Los Angeles to team up with our superstar? I'm talking about Daniel Gafford, the Arkansas product who joined the Mavericks midway through the 2023-24 season and immediately made an impact. Gafford didn't waste any time showing why Dallas traded for him. Using his soft touch around the rim, his superb defensive instincts, and his incredible athleticism to help the Mavericks reach the NBA Finals, let me give you some numbers that illustrate just how effective Gafford was in Dallas. During the second portion of his fifth NBA season after joining the Mavericks, he averaged 11 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks per game. But here's the stat that really jumps off the page. Here's the number that tells you everything you need to know about his efficiency and his role in that offense. Gafford shot 78% from the field. That's not a typo. That's 78%. That kind of efficiency is almost unheard of in the modern NBA, and it speaks to his ability to finish plays, to convert opportunities around the basket, and to make the most of every touch he gets. Now, Gafford is no longer catching lobs from Luka Doncic in Dallas, but that doesn't mean his production has fallen off a cliff. In fact, he's off to a solid start this season with the Mavericks, contributing 12 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks per game, while shooting an absurd 75% from the field. Those numbers demonstrate that he's not a one-hit wonder, that he's not a player who only succeeded because of who was passing him the ball. Gafford is a legitimate NBA center who can contribute at a high level regardless of the system or the personnel around him. Well, here's what makes this potential trade so intriguing for the Lakers. Imagine Daniel Gafford playing alongside our superstar in Los Angeles. Imagine the pick-and-roll possibilities. Imagine the lob opportunities. Imagine the defensive versatility that a Gafford addition would bring to our front court. Our star is one of the best pick-and-roll operators in the entire league. A player who can break down defenses off the dribble and create easy scoring opportunities for his teammates. Gafford thrives in exactly that kind of system. He's a player who can finish above the rim, who can roll hard to the basket, and who can punish defenses for committing too much attention to the ball handler. While it's true that Derek Lively might have been Luka Doncic's favorite lob threat during their time together in Dallas, Gafford was a very close second. The chemistry between those two players was evident from the moment Gafford arrived in Dallas, and there's no reason to think the same chemistry couldn't be recreated in Los Angeles, with our superstar running the show. In fact, you could argue that our star's passing ability and court vision might be even better suited to maximizing Gafford's skill set than what he experienced in Dallas. Let's talk about what Gafford would bring to the Lakers beyond just the offensive production. Defense has been a point of emphasis for this coaching staff all season long, and adding a rim protector of Gafford's caliber would immediately upgrade our interior defense. He's averaging nearly 2 blocks per game. He alters countless other shots with his length and timing, and he has the lateral quickness to switch onto smaller players when necessary in today's NBA, where versatility and switchability are so important defensively. Having a center who can protect the paint while also holding his own on the perimeter is invaluable. The financial aspect of this potential trade is also worth examining. Gafford is making $20 million per year on his new extension, which is a very reasonable number for a starting caliber center in today's NBA. That's not a max contract. That's not a deal that's going to hamstring the franchise financially. And it's a salary that the Lakers could realistically match in a trade scenario without completely gutting the roster. Rob Pelinka has shown throughout his tenure as general manager that he's willing to be aggressive when the right opportunity presents itself, and this feels like exactly the kind of move that could push the Lakers from good to great. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What would the Lakers have to give up to acquire Daniel Gafford? That's the million-dollar question, and it's something that Pelinka and his staff are undoubtedly debating internally. The Mavericks aren't going to just give away a productive young center for nothing, especially one they just signed to an extension. Dallas would want meaningful assets in return, whether that's draft picks, young players, or some combination of both. The Lakers would need to determine what they're willing to part with and whether the upgrade that Gafford represents is worth the cost. My personal opinion, and I want to be clear that this is just my analysis based on watching this team and understanding the roster construction, is that the Lakers should absolutely be aggressive in pursuing Gafford. This team is built to win. Now, we have a superstar in his prime putting up MVP caliber numbers, and we can't afford to waste this window of opportunity. Adding a player like Gafford, someone who fits perfectly with our star's playing style and addresses a clear need in the front court, is exactly the kind of move that championship caliber teams make. Think about the Lakers teams that have won championships over the years. They've always had a dominant presence in the paint, whether it was Shaq in the early 2000s, Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum in the late 2000s and early 2010s, or Anthony Davis more recently. Championship teams need reliable big men who can protect the rim, finish around the basket, and provide a physical presence in the playoffs. Gafford checks all of those boxes, and at 27 years old, he's young enough to be part of this core for multiple years. The timing of this potential trade is also significant. We're approaching the midpoint of the season. The trade deadline is looming in February, and teams are starting to evaluate their rosters and determine whether they're buyers or sellers. The Mavericks are in an interesting position because they're competitive enough to make the playoffs, but they might not be good enough to seriously contend for a championship. If Dallas decides that they need to make changes, if they determine that moving Gafford could bring back assets that better fit their timeline or their system, then the Lakers need to be first in line to make a competitive offer. Brett Siegel's reporting specifically mentioned that the Lakers have had strong interest in Gafford, dating back to last season, which tells me that this isn't a new development. This is something the front office has been monitoring for a while, something they've been preparing for, and something they're ready to act on if the opportunity presents itself. That kind of long-term planning and strategic thinking is exactly what you want from your front office, and it gives me confidence that Pelinka and his staff know what they're doing. Let me paint a picture of what the Lakers could look like with Daniel Gafford in the lineup. Imagine our superstar running pick and roll with Gafford, drawing defenders and then lobbing the ball up for easy dunks. Imagine Gafford protecting the rim on the defensive end, erasing mistakes and giving our perimeter defenders the confidence to be more aggressive. Imagine the energy and athleticism that Gafford would bring every single night, the highlight reel plays that would have Crypto.com Marina going absolutely crazy. That's the kind of impact player we're talking about. That's the kind of addition that could transform this team's ceiling. The chemistry factor cannot be overstated either. While Gafford didn't play with our current superstar in Dallas, the principles of how to play alongside elite pick-and-roll creators remain the same. Gafford has already proven that he can thrive in that kind of system, that he can make the right reads, that he can finish plays efficiently, and that he can stay out of the way when necessary. Those are skills that translate regardless of who's throwing you the ball, and I have no doubt that Gafford would seamlessly integrate into our offensive system. From a roster construction standpoint, adding Gafford would also give the Lakers more flexibility with their rotations. We'd have a legitimate starting center who can play 30 to 35 minutes per night, which would allow other big men on the roster to slide into more appropriate roles. Depth is so important over the course of an 82-game season and especially in the playoffs. And having multiple capable bodies in the front court is something every championship team needs. The fan reaction to this potential trade would be overwhelmingly positive. I have no doubt about that. Lakers Nation has been clamoring for frontcourt help, for a rim protector who can make an impact on both ends of the floor, and Gafford fits that description perfectly. This is the kind of move that gets fans excited, that generates buzz on social media, that makes people believe that management is serious about competing for championships. And in a market like Los Angeles, where expectations are always sky high, making moves that demonstrate ambition and aggression is absolutely crucial. Looking at the bigger picture, this potential Gafford trade represents exactly the kind of strategic thinking that successful franchises employ. The Lakers aren't content to just make the playoffs. They're not satisfied with being a middle-of-the-pack team. They're actively looking for ways to improve, to add pieces that complement their star players, and to position themselves as legitimate championship contenders. That's the mindset of a winning organization, and it's the mindset that Lakers fans should expect and demand from their front office. As we head toward the trade deadline in February, I'll be monitoring this situation closely and bringing you all the latest updates right here on Lakers News Fan Report. This Gafford situation has real legs. It's not just speculation or wishful thinking. There's legitimate mutual interest. There's a clear fit from both a basketball and financial standpoint. And there's a pathway to making a deal happen if both sides are willing to negotiate in good faith. Whether it actually comes to fruition remains to be seen. But the fact that the Lakers are actively pursuing this kind of upgrade should have all of us excited about the direction of this franchise. To wrap this up, Lakers Nation, the potential addition of Daniel Gafford represents exactly the kind of move that could take this team from good to great. We've got a superstar playing at an MVP level. We've got a competitive roster that's already above 500, and we've got a front office that's actively looking for ways to improve. Adding a 27-year-old center who can protect the rim, finish around the basket, and play alongside our star would address a clear need and give us another weapon to deploy in our quest for championship number 18. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Lakers should go all in on acquiring Daniel Gafford? What would you be willing to give up to make this trade happen? Do you believe Gafford is the missing piece that could push us over the top? Drop your comments down below because I love reading your thoughts and debating roster construction with the best fans in the NBA. And if you're not already subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking news update or in-depth analysis. We're bringing you daily content, insider information, and everything you need to stay connected with your Los Angeles Lakers. Share this video with your fellow Lakers fans. Smash that like button if you're excited about the possibility of adding Gafford. And I'll see you in the next video with more news and analysis. Let's go, Lakers!